longtime co-host Rotes on. But just posted in the Telegram. We're good to go. Stoked to be out here again today, guys. Another great stream. We have a lot of topics to discuss this week. We'll be talking about, obviously, have an update from Max in a discussion a little bit about what's going on with the trade war. We'll be talking about the Zora situation, which happened yesterday. A lot of controversy, or not yesterday, a few days ago. A lot of controversy around that. The Ohm token, a little bit about that. Of course, some chart reviews. We'll be talking the Powell situation with Trump and a few other great things. So we appreciate you guys for being on here. If you could like, share, retweet, comment on the stream so we can get this out to more people, it'd be much appreciated. And let me see here really quickly. I actually want to do something here on the top of the show. Here, hold on. Find it really quickly. First of all, Max, thanksy for Loco. How's everybody doing today?
Good, are you?
Friday. Not too bad.
Everything is good, man. It's supposed to be a holiday, right?
It is a holiday.
Yes, sir. Good Friday.
There's no holidays in crypto.
Actually, yes, here. So let's go ahead and usually we do have a little bit of a review with our boy Rotes, but he's not here today. So we'll just go get straight into it. Last show, here, let me actually pull it up on here really quickly. 2 seconds. Go to videos, media. Now, Max, here, let me mute this real quick. And then let me share my screen too so you guys can see it. Entire screen. All right, you guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. So this is what, last time we were on the show, this is what we were talking about with the China trade war. This is what Max had said. Now, Max, do you see that? Wait, can you guys hear this or no? No, wait, hold on. I have to do a tap. I apologize. I apologize here.
Oh, we can hear it. We can hear it.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear it. I don't know if anyone else can.
Full screen. Okay, it says use tab, but I'm just going to do that just in case. Oh, it's with Telegram, so I think it works. Okay, perfect. All right. Apologize. Stay with me here. Okay. This is from last stream. Now, Max, do you see them, again, see this as further posturing from China to kind of make, them seem powerful to their country? Or what do you make of comments like this?
Yeah, well, it's chatter because on the weekend, unfortunately, there's 5,000 places that are going to quote or misquote what China says.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, Xi Jinping was quoted in the China Times saying, we implore President Trump to reduce the tariffs against China. We are open for discussion. Look, China's strength ended when they came back with their response last week. It was weak. Everybody knew it. That's why the market rallied. If that was their shot, then this is just a matter of time. And all the chat that you're hearing makes zero difference because what you're not hearing is what's going on behind the scenes. And that's where we will see, I don't know if it's this week or 3 weeks from now, there will be a headline flashing across CNBC in that red flag saying breaking news. And the deal will be something like, and I'm guessing here, China and the U.S. reach a historic trading agreement. Both agree to drop all tariffs and expand trading between the two countries. And then it will give all the credit to Xi Jinping. So that's what's going on behind the scenes. And every single BS headline like this, good or bad, I'm not trying to pick favorites, it is just hot air.
For sure. And then since the stream this last week, we're now seeing Trump, I think it was Trump saying that they're now kind of open to making the deal with China and that it's becoming really close. Where are we at with this, Max, since last week? You think we're just getting closer and closer to their deal and they're just doing this kind of back and forth dance? Where do you see things right now?
Well, it is a dance, just like we said, a big dance. And the way it's getting more painful for China is just last evening they said we are ready to talk if the United States will do so with respect and assign a person to do so. So here's how you know China wants to talk. The space in between their headlines shortens. So so they went 24 hours a week ago before they said something else. Now they go about 7 hours before they do another headline. Pretty soon it'll be not at all because they'll be on the phone with Trump all the time.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. Getting closer to that deal. Let me see. Let me see here. Sorry, someone just texted me. So yeah, not much. Now was we're also seeing a bunch of the other countries getting closer and closer to, or a lot of them getting close to that deal as well. So we're kind of just waiting there.
132 countries making a transaction.
Yep.
So what's about to happen to the United States is going to make all the people that bitched about it really pissed. I mean, really pissed because they're going to be dead wrong, and this economy is just going to launch off the rocket pad. And I don't know. I think it's going to be quite shocking for people.
Yeah, you're still seeing the general consensus among the crowd that maybe a recession's coming, but that for sure this summer is going to be real quiet and it's just going to chop. But like
Guys,
we're
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it, but I know we've said it on several streams. We're going to learn, whether we like it or not, that this was political hatred, not financial mess. This was, I have never, ever seen in my 43 years and 8 different presidents, I have never seen the vitriol that people have against this man. I don't know why. I don't really care why, but this was a series of events that were normal, non-tragic, non-panic events, but because of the person who did it, there was just this unbelievable amount of hate that moved into the system, and they sold. It it's going to turn out to be the dumbest thing we've ever watched.
100%. And I just realized I didn't post it in the Telegram till now. But 100%, that makes a lot of sense. So we're kind of just again just letting it all play out with the China situation. By the way, I wanted to start off the show. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and give Max Crypto 6 here a follow. Him and I have been doing. He's been doing the streams with us for probably about 6 weeks from now, and super gracious to do it with us again. This guy has like not only just 4 decades of traditional finance experience. There's plenty of people who have been investing for a long time, but this guy has done it at the highest level, managing, you know, large sums of money, being on, CNBC, Forbes, all of the big news publications over the decades, hundreds of times, and he's here blessing us, not only blessing us with his time, but his biggest objective and what we're trying to build with this brand Team Six Crypto, which you'll hear more about soon, is just one, help people get a grip to ignore all the bullshit so they can continue to stay on the train, to where crypto is eventually heading, which Max has said, and which I believe too, is going to absorb the entire financial world, not just financial world, but collectibles, so much of our everyday life. Because again, crypto just cuts out the middleman and just makes things so much more efficient. So again, we're super stoked to have Max on here. Definitely give him a follow. Again, lots of new content coming from us, him specifically, on all platforms. So look out for him, and then his YouTube channel as well, where you're going to get a lot of the here. Now it's sharing, I think. A lot of the more in-depth stuff on the stuff you hear on the streams, these specific topics. He shows real world examples from the past on these different crises, and so much other great stuff. So definitely check out his YouTube channel. Check out his Twitter. And nowhere else that we can find you yet, right, Max? Just Twitter and YouTube.
Well, we got the Team Six TikTok and Instagram, but we don't have anything up yet. We're gonna get that
Perfect.
organized. I think I wrote this morning in one of the X's. Do we call them X's now or tweets? I don't know.
Yeah, I think everybody still calls it Twitter and tweets.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
So in one of the tweets, I said our our whole intent is to be the biggest, baddest gang in the crypto world. So think of it that way. We're all part of a gang, and we're gonna travel a pathway. And I'm convinced that this pathway is gonna, from where we are right now in crypto. It seems like a lot's going on. This is very early, very very early. Uh, don't get too excited because that's what gets you burned out. But this is the equivalent of when I started it when the Dow was 900. So I'm excited because I think we're going to do the very same thing we did in the world of stocks. We're now going to do it in the world of digits, and the whole world's going to become digitized, and we have to start thinking of it as digital assets, not cryptocurrency. Because the word crypto, I'm going to tell you, it has a psychological effect. It makes people think it's crooked. And the more we start thinking in terms of digital assets, the more people will accept it, and the more quickly this rush will continue. And we're gonna ride the whole thing. And like I said, we're gonna have the biggest, baddest gang in the business. So we'll all travel the paths together.
Right on, man. And some Richie Flame says finally seeing Max live. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, he was on the first stream he actually did with us. It was a face cam, and then cool to see him. Yeah, we're all gonna have face cams eventually. But yeah, Max is ahead of the game. Cool to see that. Max has been doing really good. Yeah, for sure. Definitely all follow Max's Twitter. He definitely has been very active on there lately. And then, of course, the other two panelists that we have on here as well, Danksy and For Loco. We'll have them talk about a little bit what they're doing with Bridge 3 Labs a little bit later. But as far as the China situation, I think we pretty much touched on, everything that's kind of happened since our last stream. We're kind of just letting this thing play out, right, Max?
Yeah, look, it's a dance, and it's going to last. I think we said in the past couple of streams that at the outside it might be another 4 to 6 weeks. But based on the way you're reading the headlines from China now, they're picking up in speed, which means they need this to happen in less than 6 weeks. So my hunch is there's a lot more going on than you might think.
100%. 100%. Now, give me one second here. Yeah, give me one second here. Sorry, I just got a message. Let me see. Well, yeah, no. The also besides the China situation, obviously Powell and Trump, kind of going back and forth. I think a lot of people are kind of putting a lot more importance or attention on this than they should. I think people are saying, "Oh, well, fucking Powell's never going to cut rates if Trump's talking shit to him." Like, I don't think that's really what he's determining on whether he's going to cut rates or not. I think a lot of it again is just kind of theater and probably posturing and stuff. But I mean, Max, what do you take of this back and forth? I don't know if Powell said anything back, but
Is Powell gonna get fired? Is that the real question?
yeah, and is Powell going to get fired?
I mean, look, guys, look at the history of presidents. Every single one of them didn't like the chairman of the Fed. They all didn't like him at some point. So this isn't new. This isn't unique. And 90% of it is theater. You got to remember, guys, this is not. Uh, don't take everything that happens as it means something. It'll drive you fucking crazy. 90% of what you watch in life doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It just doesn't mean anything. Why worry about it? Don't get the jitters where every headline. Well, what does that mean, and what's that going to do, and how's that going to affect this, and what if that? You'll never stop spinning. And the whole way you get to the finish line and win is you got to stop spinning. Believe me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they yell at each other or don't yell at each other. It doesn't matter whether they like each other or don't like each other. It doesn't matter whether Powell cuts rates now or in May. It does not matter. This force is too big, too powerful, and it's going to overrun everything you think is a hurdle.
100%. Yeah, just show. Um, for Loco, you got any comments on either two of the stuff we just talked about?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I thought I was having some issues, but no, look, I agree with Max. I think we just, this is all headlines, and we just have to let it play out. And whether Trump likes the Fed or not, I don't, Trump has been very vocal about his thoughts and interests for. I don't know if you guys have watched his, whether it's The Apprentice or if you read The Art of the Deal, but this is the way he operates. And I'm not too concerned about it. I don't think he will be able to remove the Fed from where it is, but the Fed, it's definitely getting cornered, and whether it's in the next few months or later in the year, is definitely going to have cut rates, just because that's where how the economy is shaped, right? Like after the financial crisis, there's cycles. We need to refinance the debt, and liquidity needs to flow back into the system. So here it comes, money printing. So I'm not too concerned. I know that it's been a pretty slow week. And the markets, I think the market's closed today for the holiday.
Yep.
But I think we're just going to be chopping around. I'm actually very impressed with the strength of crypto in the last few weeks. Bitcoin holding is
You're exactly right.
maybe 83 to 85,000 range is it's actually pretty remarkable, knowing that most of the major indexes were down. So, aside from that, just being patient, and really hoping for some good news. But other than that, it's just noise and not too concerned about it.
For sure.
Is it
Absolutely.
interesting that Bitcoin and the S&P are kind of not running the same at the situation?
Yeah, this is something I posted yesterday about it on our Bridge Labs Discord and maybe on our group chats. Is there was a chart from Bitwise. I don't know if I can pull it up. Thanks to, do you have it, Andy?
Let me look real quick.
Yeah. If you actually go, let me see if I can pull it up. Anyways, the chart was saying that during the last month, pretty much 25, 30 trading days, the correlation in between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin has been near zero. I just sent the chart here on Telegram, Brandon, if you want to pull it up. And this really comes with the, I guess, the thesis that I've been having a while ago is, you know at some point Bitcoin is really decoupling from major risk assets, and should perform closer to IMO, should perform closer to gold. um, Whereas still store of value, yes, there's a technology behind it and adoption curve, so that's we're gonna see volatility. But volatility is actually good for growing assets, right? If you don't have volatility on any asset, that means that it's not an asset that you can expect to grow at massive or a high pace, right? So volatility in Bitcoin doesn't particularly mean that it's negative. It's actually highly incentivizing for traders, as well as just the ability that it has to over time, pretty much outperform any other asset classes that it has been doing over the last 10 years. So yeah, that chart from Midwise, it's showing that correlation with the S&P 500 is really near zero, which is a positive because we want Bitcoin to act as a kind of like countermeasure for currency debasement. So I thought it would be important to perhaps we can discuss it and start to see how Bitcoin, corrections are now closer to 15-20% versus 40 to 50 or 60% in previous cycles, and perhaps, it's starting to act more as a store of value, and whether there's still volatility is way less destructive as it was in previous cycles, where investors are starting to gain confidence, perhaps to buying at these levels. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about this, but I thought it was a positive um, you know, metric to bring in.
Max, do you see crypto like decoupling from stocks like longer term, or your outlook is you think the S&P 500 and everything are also going to go up over
Not
the?
crypto, about Bitcoin. Just want to make sure, Brad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the Bitcoin decoupling is good. I mean, specifically for Bitcoin, it shows
yeah,
definitely that it's trading separate from other risk asset is good for Bitcoin in general across the board.
I think we make the mistake of not realizing that Bitcoin has been separated from the stock business since it started. What happens is we watch a month and we think, "Oh my god, it's coupled." It's never been coupled. It just looks like it has the same rhythm once in a while. But there's no part of the rate of return of Bitcoin since it started and stocks since it started. There's no part of it, it's not coordinated in any manner. There's never been a coupling. So when we see it possibly have the same rhythm for 4 or 5 weeks, it does not mean we should say in our minds, oh my God, is it ever going to uncouple? It's never been coupled. So I think we have to think in a much bigger like picture to be able to envelop where it's going. If we think in too small a picture, we risk not recognizing the pathway it's on.
100%.
I agree. I look. It's always been like 20% or so. I've been, seeing many reports from different firms like it's closer to 20 to 30% correlation. But now, especially this year, it's been acting closer to zero, which is fantastic, right? Because you want Bitcoin again to be a store of value and a hedge against currency debasement. So, have you guys heard of the concept of bit bonds? I think Benek introduced it, but it's essentially a blockchain-based hybrid kind of like debt instrument that can help the U.S. refinance their massive 14 trillion debt over the next 3 to 5 years, and it proposes this concept of bit bonds, where essentially they they create this instrument that generates anywhere from 1 to 4.5% yield. Uh, Generated by obviously the U.S. Treasury, and essentially what it does, it really is like a micro strategy type of level at the government level, with significant, pretty exciting yield. So I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but the concept was introduced, I believe, not too long ago by Banek.
Haven't read up on that yet, but I'm sure I'm sure that they will eventually put our debt into the digital world.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everything's going on chain. Um, Now the Zora situation. I don't know if you got a chance to read up on a little bit of it for Loco, but yeah, I was
Mhm.
watching on it a little bit. Obviously, a lot of controversy. Recently, this app Zora, which actually been around for a little bit, right? I don't know how long, at least several months. Um, all of a sudden, Jesse from Coinbase dropped pretty much. I don't know if it's a new feature or whatever, but it's essentially the Zora, which is like this social media type site that's on chain. And I think they dropped this new feature, or it was already out. I'm not sure. Jesse posted it on there where it essentially allows people to, what he calls it, put coin something like put content on chain, pretty much making the social media posts um, on this website, like
Mhm.
tokenized, where essentially you can buy or sell a little bit of this piece of content. Right now, it's
Mhm.
pictures, videos, all that different stuff. But I think what Jesse kind of alliterates to is that kind of everything's going to be on chain. And all of a sudden, Jesse, again, from Jesse Pollock from Coinbase, he kind of runs the base chain. Um, he uh, he he dropped like one of the coins that they put on there that Coinbase itself put on the app. Obviously, it went up to it was called what, Coinbase for is for everyone, or Basis for
Yeah,
everyone.
basis for everyone. Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was Rug, and then for some reason it came
Yeah,
back,
I
right?
think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of confusion around it. Like, what's it called? They dropped it on here. Here's his tweet. Obviously, the coin went up and dropped really hard. And the first thing that people did is went to Jesse and try to blame him for for rugging or doing all this stuff. When in reality, Coinbase didn't have any of the coin. A lot of people are viewing it as they're creating like they're grifting, creating a way. for further like pump and dumps and stuff like that. But I truly think it's another case of crypto Twitter kind of overreacting and not taking a lot of people not taking personal responsibility for actually buying the coin. They bought it with no context, no idea what it is, and then when they post another coin, which again is just a piece of content or whatever, then the other one dropped. Right? A lot of people got pissed, whatever. But I think a lot of people are missing the point that again, one, you have to have personal responsibility. Two, I don't think the point of this app again is to make a bunch of coins that go up and down. It's again, Jesse's their vision for it is a way that people can buy little bits of their uh, favorite content creators' content, which I think is actually revolutionary. And I think that right now it's a really rudimentary form. Not a lot of people on the app. But I think with everything being tokenized, well, everything is going to go on chain. I think this is something that makes sense, and I think people are kind of overreacting here as far as that. I think it's something that can actually be really cool, whether it's Zora or I think another one of these social media sites, maybe even X someday, implementing a way to kind of making these posts and stuff tokenized for
So
local.
let me see if I get this right. So you create content and then you can somehow monetize. Like let's say right now, nowadays, or if you run a spaces or stream, you need sponsors for those content creators to be get paid, or you need to be on YouTube and then get paid by views or impressions, right? Same with Twitter.
Mhm.
But with this concept of Sora, you create content, whether it's video, images, whatever you create, and then you tokenize it, and then your followers or people that care about what you post, they can buy a portion of it, and that goes directly to creators. Is that the concept?
I mean, I don't know how much of the supply or what the coin or like how it really works of how much the creator itself gets from the stuff. And I don't know the exact details, but yeah, essentially it's a way to make every post or every piece of content on the site tokenized. And I don't think its whole purpose. At least some of these things obviously will go up a lot in value, and if you saw it earlier, you're going to make money. But I don't think that's the purpose of it. I think the purpose of the reason they're making it is again to move the world more on chain, to allow people to collect pieces of again their favorite creators' content. What if Elon puts out a fucking legendary tweet on Zora or whatever the fuck, or whatever site it is on Zora? You bought it right when it comes out. Other people are doing the same, and then all of a sudden it's fucking 30x higher. Either way, I think it again just allows people to collect a piece of their favorite creators' content, which I
Yeah,
think.
because I'm on the website right now, and they pretty much filter all these different you know creations by market cap, volume, etc., and how many people hold it. And so you can literally see, for instance, this basis for everyone creation had, I think, closer to 10 million market cap, and then 20,000 holders, which I mean is, I believe, these people that own this piece of art, and then they somehow give it cultural value, right? Like if you
Yeah.
want to own it, I guess what you have to understand is this has to be number one cultural based, like memes, right? Where you put up price on attention and what people are talking about or care about at this moment. Like otherwise, how do you really value these things, right? Because an image is an image, and can you even like, even if it's tokenized, it's not the same as having IP rights on it, right? Or copyright on them. So it's interesting, but I think it's definitely more of a cultural movement to bring people on chain.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
you
Some
guys see
people
it?
see it as
Yeah.
like a as base or ETH's way of like, especially the L2's way of getting into the meme coin kind of game, or like kind of bringing some of the meme coin people over. Because essentially, this is creating meme coins. It's like another way of meme coins, but making them based on these posts or these things. But either way, I think it's just another step forward in the way of everything being tokenized. And I think it's probably something that a lot of these different sites, maybe one of the big ones, already existing ones, implement someday as tokenization becomes more popular.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. No. To be honest, they're really experimenting with this because I also see this as a hybrid of meme coin and NFT. Right.
mhm.
Remember when the NFTs used to be fractionalized back in the CryptoPunk days, where
Yep.
you would buy a portion of a CryptoPunk, on chain. So Yeah,
Do
it's definitely
you
interesting.
still,
I haven't played around with it, but I heard there was a lot of
is
noise on the
there,
timeline.
there's still ways to buy tokenized versions of NFTs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. On what? Mostly, didn't one of the big, did Blur have it or something? One of the big exchanges, I thought, uh, implemented it. But I know there was that one, I forgot that guy from D Gods, big D Gods whale guy created that thing. But yeah, I think those guys are really early because we've talked about in the stream before that NFTs, whether it be real estate, contract or real estate, all these different things will be fractionalized as well. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't know for Loco if you read up on the Ohm situation.
Which
We
one?
were talking Ohm, OM.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had a lot of not. I mean, look, you hear everything, but I don't want to make um, you know, comments without knowing much about it. I've heard things about the investors, VCs, and the founder, and to be honest, I don't really know enough to make an informed kind of like decision or takeaway on this. But it definitely looks very bad, uh, so OM was one of the or Mantra was one of the tokens I was following on RWA, but. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the truth is, traditional finance companies, like major companies, when they want to tokenize something on chain, they don't want to pay third party a fee to do so. Like I think that's what OM and Ondo and all these companies are. They're like pretty much brokers in between traditional finance or companies that want to tokenize assets and then on chain, right? So they're providing that kind of like brokered third party platform to allow them to do so. But if these companies are, that they're massive, right? Whether it's Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, or BlackRock, whoever wants to tokenize anything, they're just gonna pick the
Did he cut out?
Shoot, I think we lost him.
it themselves. So I've always thought that these valuations were a little bit tricky. Uh, whether it's Ondo, Mantra, or all these other ones. And now we know that Mantra happened to have like close to 90% supply under control of the team and investors. So
Mhm.
whenever you see tokenomics like that, you gotta be careful and you gotta do your due diligence before you buy into it. So am I surprised? Not really, but at the same time, it's definitely a very bad look for the industry, especially the RWA because it's growing very fast.
So just to touch on what you said you don't think they're going to want to pay their own fee. What do you think they're going to do? Make their own chain, like where make the
No, no,
like
no. They just utilize an L1, right? Whether it's Solana or Ethereum, and they pretty much tokenize this assets themselves. They don't need a third party platform like Mantra or Ondo to do so. I mean,
yeah.
like, it's a nice to have, but if you are a big finance company, you wanna pretty much have you wanna control as much as you can of the revenue pie, right? If you're paying the fees for the layer one, and then you're paying the third party to help you tokenize your assets, you're pretty much spreading yourself short when it comes to revenue opportunities, and it's not really that difficult. So
So you
so I
expect the
yeah
institution to make their own like DApps or their own like
yeah
exchanges.
yeah
Um,
exactly.
do you think that's what's going to happen, Max? For the most part, like I think you're already seeing it with BlackRock. They have like Biddle and all that stuff. Or do you see them using the already existing ones like Ohm or kind of a mix of both?
You're going to have some companies that don't care, and some companies that are going to say, "No, I want my name on it."
Yeah.
But that's just like lots of things. Yeah, I don't think that's a factor to be concerned with. I think Loco pointed out the biggest part of why this is likely to happen is when an entity owns 90% of it. You probably shouldn't have owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not a decentralized token. That's a controlled event, and if they want to sell, they get to sell.
Yeah, a lot of smoke and mirrors around what happened. I think there was like an OTC deal that went down, lots of stuff. But yeah, right, like Max said, if the supply's in the hands of 90%,
Oh, I thought
ninety
it was
percent
like
in one.
I thought it was like a like part of the contract. Something didn't happen, and they just liquidated the position.
I think that's what they thought originally, but I saw the CoffeeZilla interview with the one of the founder guys, and I think he was saying there was like an CoffeeZilla saying there was an OTC deal that like went down like the day before, and they insisted in getting it done like within that 48 hours, and then all of a sudden whoever dumped. But I think there's still a lot of speculation around it. Who knows? Either way, like I was going to say, if the supply is in the hands of one person, 90%, you're always at risk of something like this happening. So, does it recover? Who knows? I like to see some consolidation here. We've seen some of these top projects who again do recover like Pal AI and stuff. But again, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd like to see some consolidation before, like for Loco was saying, Ohm or Mantra was like a big piece in RWA, and I could see it coming back. But again, this is never good to see down whatever fucking 95%.
Yeah,
Uh,
once you lose the confidence of your bigger investors, it's very difficult to come back. Um, can we survive? Yes, but there's so many other options, and with the current regulation, I think there's going to be more and more of these RWA companies trying to bridge and really help TradFi, bring stables and yield and treasuries on chain. That's what they're doing, right? Because some of these major TradFi companies have so many regulations and compliance issues. And so instead of doing it themselves, they might utilize like Ondo or Mantra. But with the current regulation, I think what they'll do is they hire someone that is blockchain native, whether it comes from one of these teams, and then build it internally. That's what I think they're going to do. But again, as Max pointed out, I not want to go through that trouble and utilize this platform for a fee. So
for sure. Bull 201 says Max is a goat. Glad I got to know him through the stream. 100%. We appreciate you guys. Another round of alpha followed you guys. Max, how do you think USA buys Bitcoin with tariffs or gold?
Gold.
Yeah. He said, yeah, Paul will be fired. Time to learn something new. Appreciate you for being on, Lonely Boy. Jay thanks says, I think there will be more dips before majors would skyrocket. Uh, Richie Flame says, what sectors or tokens do you think will benefit from the China trade war really ends? I would say again, just crypto in general, man. Like we do touch on the China trade war and stuff because it's what's happening and what's on people's minds. But Max and myself and everybody's been very adamant that crypto's going to do its thing regardless, bro. Whether this takes whatever a couple weeks, even if the trade war or whatever went on for fucking a year, crypto's going to do its thing regardless over a longer period of time. But to answer your question, Richie, for me, I'm Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. Obviously, most you want to have most of your portfolio in that. But for me, I've been buying a lot of the same memes. I've been buying the coins that have survived these crashes before, who have strong supply distributions. Like we were talking about 90% in that one wallet. A lot of these meme coins that you want to be buying want to have 1 or 2%. The non-exchange wallets or non-LP wallets, 1 or 2% at the most. Coins like that again, Giga, SPX, Mog, ticker Bitcoin. But then I've been buying a lot of these RWA, AI, some gaming coins because again, I do think those are going to pop off with this regulatory clarity. We've seen the last few years it's been like a barbell. It's been Bitcoin and Sol and memes, right? And then everything else in the middle has just been kind of weak. I think with Max has made pretty clear, kind of made it really clear for me that like the institutions, these new players that are going to come in, are going to see this new world the same way they saw the traditional world as high caps, mid caps, low caps, and that's going to make the top 50 that really haven't gotten a lot of light or shine the last few years. I think that's really going to make a lot of those coins take off. So I've been buying non meme bags like Super, Tau, a lot of the top AI and gaming, and again the AI coins. So dipping a little bit in there. But yeah, again, I think memes are still going to get a big run. It's going to be where a lot of the newer people come in. But I think we'll see AI, RWA, and gaming stuff like that start to thrive with the new regulatory environment. Uh, I hope those two get to an agreement. Oh yeah, this is like 20 minutes ago. Just want to make sure I get through the chat. We do appreciate you guys' comments, questions. What? Max, he says, Max, what do you think is the best time to buy electronic assets? Um,
Electronic or digital?
I think he means digital.
Okay. Uh, Yesterday and today.
Yeah, exactly. Um, NFT Jimmy says, do you think a trade deal between China and the US will drive the market for a next run? Um, Again, it could be what does like give the markets a big push, but overall, man, like I said, the markets, crypto especially, are going to go up over time either way.
Can I say one thing? I notice a lot of questions are about time. Right? They're about, well, do you think that's going to cause this, and do you think that's going to cause this? And I would try to impress upon everybody to stop thinking that way. Um, Try to think of this way. All of this is going to go up. There will be winners and losers. Nobody knows what those answers are until time goes by. Don't try to chop up the time by framing it in reactionary events. All I know is this: after 43 years of watching people build wealth in stocks, they're now going to do the very same thing in digital. And the winners were the guys that just let the time go by. You can't chop it up. You can't make it based on something else, because here's what it'll do. You're 50-50 at best getting the event you want to happen in the time you think it should happen. So what are you going to do while that's going on? Well, if you say, do you think it'll happen because of this? Well, now you're just going to focus on whatever this is. And then as this gets closer and closer and closer, what is your blood pressure doing? Well, it's rising. Your tension is increasing. You're getting further and further away from everything else that's going on. You're so focused on this. You got to let all that go. You just got to let the game unfold. The more you can let the game unfold, the more it's going to turn into a fun thing. And if you have fun with it and not make it life or death, and it's got to be this or this or that's going to happen if this or that doesn't happen, your mind will be much clearer and much more open to the opportunities they're dead center in front of you. See, this is how people look. The guys that chop all this up and get tense about everything, this is how they look back on 5 years and they go, wait a minute, how the fuck did the Dow go up 17,000 points? And they realized they didn't get anywhere because they kept wrapping it and wrapping it and wrapping it with stuff. All that is superfluous. All of it is. You gotta think at a much higher vertical level than, well, think if Trump does this and then China will do that, and then if China does this, what'll that stock do? And it's it's the wrong game to play. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's the wrong game to play.
Absolutely. Um, let's see. I'm making sure. I see your guys' comments coming in. I'm just catching up on them. Again, we love to answer your guys' questions and comments. Why is Danksy's voice so low? I don't know. Might be his mic. Uh, Brand, what would need to happen for OM to come back? Honestly, bro, I don't know. I think people are still figuring out the information and whether it was a team or whatever. I really don't have a strong answer on that. All I know is we've seen some of these coins recover before. Chart wise, I'd like to see some consolidation because that's usually if something is going to bottom out after a big move down, big impulsive move down like that, you want to see some consolidation. But either way, bro, I don't really have a strong answer from that. I think it could go either way. Nokia Mania says, I don't want any coupling. Imagine a crypto guy celebrating a 1% movement. 200 billion in Bitcoin is too big of a supply. I don't know what you mean by that. I asked what sets Zora apart from tokenization. No, Zora is tokenization, man. It's just tokenization in the social media. Just in social media, it makes every single one of those posts a token. And I think that's what we're going to start to see in a lot of different areas in gaming, a lot of other places where people won't even know that it's tokenized. Like every single one of the gaming transactions eventually will be probably on chain, and whoever's playing that game won't know that it's going to be in the background. I think that's the same kind of thing with this. Is they're trying to build a social media site that is tokenized, where every single post is a coin on chain that people can speculate on, collect a bit of. I think it just and I really think it's great. I think it could really push along the mass adoption of tokenization. I think if social media sites and yeah, I think it's great. I think people are kind of missing the point, and they're just kind of pissed off because they bought a coin that dumped.
Let me, if I can, I don't want to bore people with this, but I think it's important to revisit what I just said because I notice a lot of questions are coming from it.
Yeah,
Um, what I'm trying to say to you about chopping all this up and playing the wrong game. Let me try to go over a pathway with you, and then you can kind of see what I'm trying to explain. Let's pretend you and I are entering the great financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. There were probably 500,000 things that someone could have said, well, what the fuck's going to happen if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen? Which means there was over a million possible outcomes. And it went over a 6.5 month period. And you would have driven yourself batshit crazy trying to figure out all those things. Or the other choice could have been to play this game. The United States has gotten over every single fucking Armageddon that has unfolded in its entire history. So, do I think it's going to get over this one? Yeah, I think it's going to get over this one. So I'm just going to fucking wait. I'm just going to sit and be patient, even though the next 6 months, i.e., August of '08 down to March of '09, is going to suck. I'm just going to make this decision. We're going to get over this and it's going to be better. See, because if I do that, then I erase the 1 million other things that everybody else is going to worry about. And who do you think won? The guy
people figured it out.
won because they played a different game. Let me tell you something. Every one of you that is saying, well, what's going to happen if this happens? What's going to happen? There are 5 million other people playing that very same game on that very same event. You will not beat them. In fact, none of those 5 million people are going to win. None. Because it's the wrong game. America will get over anything you put in front of her. So all you've got to do is say to yourself, when there's a problem and everybody panics, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to buy, add, aggressively build, whatever you want to do. But then you got to do the hard thing. And that's wait. Just wait.
Hell yeah, absolutely. NFT Jimmy says, I don't understand what's the use case of that. Would you buy videos and pictures? 100%. It's for sure a new concept, brother. Like in the old world of like Web 2 and other places, it's just like makes it's. I get what you're saying. Like, but again, we're gonna enter a world where digital assets and tokenization and speculation and gamification of everything is going to become very common. So I think being able to speculate on social media posts and collecting a digital part of your favorite, whatever, celebrities tweet or whatever, I think is just going to become kind of commonplace. I 100% agree right now, fitting that into like the world we live in right now. It just sounds fucking crazy. But if you just put in the frame of where the world's headed with tokenization and kind of everything going on chain, I think they're ahead of the fuck. I think they're super ahead of the game, and I think it's super cool. Whether Zora itself actually becomes a hit, I think they're really ahead of the game. Trump says he has a good conversation with China. Yeah, Brandon, what's your take on the current state of the market? Are we in a bull trap or real moment? We'll go over charts here in a second, but no, I think what we're seeing on Bitcoin, which again is what drives the entire market and what drives all these moves up. Again, we're in a similar correction as 23 and 24. Chart wise, the way it's looking structure wise, it's very similar to summer of 24. Essentially, where every single one of these other times, especially summer of 24, Bitcoin topped out in March at 76, came all the way down to 55. During this time from March to September, all the memes got wrecked. A lot of alts didn't move, but the alts that did move, a lot of them got wrecked. And then Bitcoin bottomed out in September. The coins that survived, the great memes and alts, came up. A lot of them went to all-time highs. And then we topped out. Same thing happening here. I think the Bitcoin, whether it bottoms out because of the trade war, like Max is talking about, between here and the next month or so, whatever the case may be, when Bitcoin does make its next move up, I think the same exact thing is going to happen here for memes, alts, the same behavior again because Bitcoin drives the entire market. When Bitcoin comes down, so does everything else, and vice versa. So for that reason, I'm not overcomplicating it. I think the same thing's going to happen here, and anybody who's buying and holding the great assets are going to be up a lot, just like they were in after the summer of 24, just like they were after the summer of 23. And at this point, I think with everything that's going on regulatory wise, how at any time countries could start buying Bitcoin, I think we're probably going to see a way more explosive move. If I had to guess, again, anything could happen, but probably a way more explosive move than than we got in this last 2024 move. I think what caught a lot of people off guard was in September, we bottomed out and Bitcoin only moved up for 3 months. I think a lot of people expected, again, stupid to expect, but like anything, but probably expected that Bitcoin is going to keep moving up because it only went up for 3 months. But yeah, to answer your question, I think we're in a
Guys, Bren, your chart up? Is that Bitcoin right there?
yeah.
Okay. What's that? What? Give me the month when it dipped down to 18,000.
Yeah.
Early 24.
It dipped down to 16K in December of 2022.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, everybody.
Mhm.
We're currently more worried than we were when Bitcoin was 22,000.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think there is any part of being worried about Bitcoin 84,000 when you could have owned it for 1/4 of the price 2 years ago? I wonder if everybody who was terrified when it was 22,000, I wonder if it's the same exact people that are terrified now that it's 84,000. And I further wonder how many of them did not buy every fucking penny of Bitcoin they could buy when it was 22,000. And I further wonder this. I wonder if we were all together when it was 22,000 and I said, guys, in 2 years, it's going to be 85,000. Forget the 108, and it dropped down to 85. How many people would have said, Mike, you're a fucking moron?
A lot.
So here's the point. It's doing the same thing again.
Yep.
It's doing the same thing again. So why would someone fall into the same trap twice or 4 times or 10 times? Because look, guys, I'm going to give you some insight into my 43 years in the stock world. There are people that will do it their entire fucking life. Their entire life will go by while the market goes from 900 to 45,000 and they will bitch the entire way up. The same thing is going to happen. Please make sure that everybody on this stream is not in that category. There's
Yeah.
only one thing that's going to separate you. Your mind.
100%.
Nothing
We have
else.
some sort of like breaking news breaking news 30 minutes ago. President Trump says he's had nice conversations with China and it's going very good.
Of
So
course it is. It's gonna go better than anybody thinks.
this also comes after, Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, made a trip to China to
course.
negotiate, because I think it's close to 20 to 30% of the Nvidia's revenue comes from China buying their GPUs. So
I'm gonna say one more thing and then I'll shut up. Do yourself a gigantic favor. Somebody asked somewhere in there, they asked, uh, "How do you get patience?" Here's how you get patience: do not refuse to listen to the news. Okay, when you hear stupid shit that scares you, you need to train yourself to laugh at it because I promise you, it's horseshit. I promise you. Do not let it consume you. Do not let it affect you. Do not let it get you to take your eye off the ball. This garbage about, quote, China tariff war is complete horseshit. All of this is a dance. All of it. It's a business deal. That's it. It's business. It's normal. Let it unfold, and you will be fine when it's over. Our economy will be better. Our market will go higher. Bitcoin will not be 85,000 anymore. I'm shocked that it is. I'm dumbfounded it's not 40 given all the goddamn panic going on. Excuse
Mm-hmm.
my language. But the point is that this is so much bigger than buying into all this horseshit media. Stop it. You will thank me later.
Boom. Fucking bars. Love that. JT says, bro, which, okay, we already said that. Rojan, nice to see you, bro. He says typical tokenomics are the wrong way to try to approach something like this. Once this evolves, it will operate under different rules. Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of, they're just putting a coin straight on chain when they're using the Zora thing. But yeah, I agree. They probably will have different parameters eventually. What do you think about checks? It's an RWA. We can look at that in a second. Max, do you think Bitcoin's current price action is sustainable, or are we due for a correction? I mean, I'd say we're already in a correction, brother.
I'll tell you what, my answer to that is I fucking hope we get a correction. I
Yep.
hope, I hope on the next stream, Bitcoin is 38 grand. That's what I hope. It won't be, but I sure wish it would be.
Yeah, please. Any future on virtual real estate, quantum computers with cryptocurrency? The concerns and benefits. I mean, virtual real estate and quantum computers are two very different things. Uh, but I would think virtual real estate and like games are like things that people actually use, like if GTA 6 and stuff where millions of people are playing already or using already. Yeah, for sure, I could see that being valuable. But it has to be in something people are actually using. And I think that's what you mean by digital real estate, like digital land. If you mean tokenizing real estate, that's something that we've been talking about a lot. That's just the future as well. Just being people and being able to buy like a small piece of a property, with an NFT probably makes a lot of sense. As far as quantum computers, I'm not a tech guy at all, but just from smart people that I've read, that stuff is probably far away. And even if it were to come, there's a lot of people with incentives to try to protect against that kind of stuff. Millions and billions of dollars of technology that's going to try to defend against it as well. And then on top of that, if quantum computers were to become a thing, then they'd be able to take out our bank accounts, everything, the entire fucking system would be go under. But like we've talked about on this stream, all of these scary fucking boogeymen's all never play out. It's just a waste of time to worry about, is what I would probably say.
I got a question for you. Who do you think won in the investment arena? The guy that didn't pay attention to one single thing ever and just kept investing? Or the guy who got so fucking scared of every headline that came out that they never invested? Who won?
The guy who didn't pay attention.
It's obvious. It's obvious. And I'm all I can offer you is 43 years of doing it so that you don't do what I watched everybody else do. That's all I can offer you. It is don't do all the stuff that I'm telling you because I have learned it from 43 years. Now, You can choose to ignore what I'm saying. And then in 43 years of doing it, you'll go, man, if I'd have just ignored all this shit, I wouldn't have been worried.
100%.
Look, this is all, let me tell you something. The future is going to be so vastly better than you can possibly imagine that the last thing you should be doing is worrying about it, because worrying is going to kill you. It's going to either make you unhealthy or it's going to make you miss it. You don't want to do either one of those.
For sure. NFT Jimmy says pretty much Web 2 problems. What do you think would be solutions to avoid? Well, like I'm telling you, I think people are looking at the Zora thing the wrong way, bro. I think they're thinking it as like a coin that's going to go up and down. I think it's not. People shouldn't be buying it. I mean, if you're looking to buy these pieces of content, whatever, to try to make a quick flip, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think doing that, just like any average meme coin, is just going to get you fucked or wrecked. Probably more so on these kind of things. I think the way to look at it is to buy being able to collect your favorite creators' content, and then possibly if that content does become viral or whatever, can get a little bit of upside in it. But trying to play it as if, or try to frame it as if like Coinbase is wrong because their base is wrong because they posted two different pieces of content. I don't think it's the right way to look at those things. If you're trying to make money off of speculating off of the pieces of content, I think you're going to get wrecked. It's more so, again, just about collecting the collectability, I think. Digital collectibles type of thing. Exactly, for Loco pointed it out. Okay, we already said that. Personally, wouldn't buy anything anytime soon. Yeah, I think that statement, again, I'm not trying to single you out, whoever said that. I wouldn't be buying anything right now. I think that's exactly the consensus on crypto Twitter right now. Like everybody, Max always says, like we're always saying, like everybody at the top is just so fucking hyped on this stuff, and then when it's down at a 50% or only a 20% discount, you can get a lot more of it. People just don't want anything to do with buying stuff right now, and I think that's the time you do want to be safely DCAing into shit.
Let me tell you a story that I tell people. I've done talks all over the world about stocks and investing and wealth.
Yeah.
And let me tell you a story I tell everybody. This is how we treat stocks. And by the way, it's exactly how we treat crypto. But I'm going to tell you the story I tell everybody. Imagine, first of all, this goes out to all the guys. All the girls are going to probably not like this. But so, guys that like to watch TV and sports, imagine for a minute that it's you've been to Best Buy a lot, and I don't know where you are in the world, but in the U.S., Best Buy is a big electronics store, and you can go there and they have this theater room, and you can walk in and it's all dark and there's gigantic TVs on the wall. And let's pretend that you see this gorgeous 90-inch TV, and you just stare at it. You go, God, honey, I'd love to have that. And she says, you're fucking crazy. It costs 15 grand. We're not buying that TV. And you say, yeah, but it would be really nice. And she tells you for 6 fucking months, that ain't going to happen, Bob. And then one Saturday, the same wife walks into the living room while you're sitting there. And she says, honey, you're not going to believe this. And she throws a little postcard in your lap from Best Buy. And guess what's on sale? That fucking TV you've been looking at for 6 months. And it doesn't cost 15 grand. You know what it costs? It costs $5,000. And even your wife is excited. The one who told you you're not going to get this says, honey, you're not going to believe it. That TV's only 5 grand. But we got to go get it today. It's got to be today. You know what happens? Is you look at that card after all those 6 months of wanting that TV, and this is what your mind tells you to spit out of your mouth. 5 grand. There's got to be something wrong with that TV. The TV you wanted. There's got to be something wrong with that TV. So what do? In all your brilliance, you say to your wife, honey, you know what? There's something wrong with that TV. Let's just wait till it goes back to regular price and buy it.
It sounds so nuts.
That's exactly what we do with stocks forever. And you know what? Right this minute, everybody's doing that with crypto. Everybody is saying, you know what? I don't know. This
I'm
looks
buying
pretty
in.
shitty.
I'm
I'm
buying in
not
right
going to
now.
do anything.
Yep. I mean, yeah. And it's just, yeah. I'd say if you're in this stream, you have dry powder. You see everybody on fucking crypto Twitter saying,
Buy.
just buy a little bit of Bitcoin, ETH,
Buy
whatever.
a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Now, let me tell you why you would do that. A contrary muscle is like any other muscle. You have to use it. If you use it, it gets stronger and you recognize you have it. If you don't use it, you will always be scared. So go buy a little bit of something. Go buy a little bit of five or six somethings, just a little bit. And once you realize what it's like to be contrary and against the fucking idiots that are in the crowd, you'll recognize why they always lose money because they act wrong.
I remember a few years ago, there was a time where I used to think, oh, the crowd and stuff like, oh, most people are probably like functioning whatever or thinking the right way. When now it's just, dude, it's just the complete opposite, especially in crypto. You realize all these narratives like with Zora, like I'm saying, like everybody, the number one thing that people are doing is calling Coinbase like grifters and scammers. When in reality, if you think about this app and how they're tokenizing all these pieces of content, I think it's the fucking future. But there's people literally calling it a scam. It's just this type of shit just blows my mind how the crowd is just so emotional. And it's just you're gonna fuck yourself up if you're listening to the crowd. I'm not saying don't listen to fucking anybody on crypto Twitter. Some of the stuff's entertaining, but if you're making investment decisions off the crowd, you're gonna get fucked up. So
Fear, when it gets the highest, fear is a poison
yeah,
and it kills your future. So you
absolutely.
got to learn over time when you see fear everywhere, when you see fear everywhere, you've got to learn how to use your contrary muscle because it will poison your system if you don't. And you will arrive at whatever destination you've got your pointed yourself at, and you will not have what you wanted.
For sure. Tota lose, and I'm still catching up on your guys' comments, questions. I'll get to them. He says Max is talking. You said Max's talk about a 30-day trade pause between China and U.S. hold any merit? I don't know if you're talking about our Max, um, but I think there's a 90-day tariff pause or whatever. That's another thing. A lot of people, the crowd is expecting after 90 days that it's going to go back into full-on chaos mode. We've been
Yeah.
clear on these streams that again, the whole pause, this whole point of these things is the negotiations for the trade deals. It's not about having the tariffs on long term.
Let me ask you a question, guys. Let's pretend that in 90 days, Donald Trump has negotiated 64.5% of all the deals that he wanted to negotiate. Do you really think 38% of whatever was going to be the monster is really even a monster anymore? I mean, really? Seriously? I mean, think. Don't jump to questions and fear. Think it through. Just think what's going to happen and then say to yourself, "Wow, is it really appropriate for me to worry about what might happen?" No, it's not. It never is.
100%. And we're getting a lot of good questions, comments in here today. Damien Trente, I don't know if I've seen you on here before, bro, but thank you. You could have a different name that we might have talked before, but being intelligent enough to know that times will change, but not intelligent enough to know to overanalyze. Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people's problems are. Like, I don't know if you guys know the bell curve, like the mid curve people are smart enough. They know just enough to fucking outthink themselves out of things. That's why a lot of people who are not even the most brightest people, but they understand these simple concepts of buy and hold. Over time, things are going to go up, and they still fucking outperform people with huge IQs because they overthink themselves out of fucking
You ever,
stuff. They don't have.
you ever hear someone who's made it big and someone asks them, how did you do it? And at some point they'll say, I just didn't know what I was supposed to be afraid of.
Yeah.
There's a reason people say that, because they know other people who got afraid of something and they were off their path. You don't understand what one decision can do. One little decision. I look at my son who's 24 now, and other than marrying my wife, the best thing I've ever accomplished. And I say to him all the time, Max, you got to realize something. Think of all the things that had to happen in my life and your mom's life for us to meet and you to exist. And when you think in those terms, you will realize how useless it is to worry about something that upsets you. There's a purpose for it. You don't know it yet, and you're not going to figure it out, and you're not going to be able to understand why it happened until later. But there's a difference. It's another F word. It's faith. Faith. You got to have faith instead of fear. Every single thing in your life is happening for a reason. Do not fight it. Do not be mad about it. Do not wonder about it. Have faith that it's all good.
For sure. Sir Max, can you please explain that chart on your X about Bitcoin dominance in alt season?
Yeah,
Yeah, let me roll that up.
it's at the bottom. That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah.
In other words, what happened after every other time it was there? Alt season exploded. So get ready. Don't see. There's an example. What does it mean when I look at a chart like this? Here's what I've trained my mind to do after 43 years. If it's at the low, like all those other lows, I just say to myself, well, what happened after all those other lows? And if someone says to me, well, this section of the market exploded, then I say to myself, pretty good. Then I guess we can probably expect that that section of the market is getting ready to explode again. Now we just have to wait.
Yeah. Every single time it's come right at that line or right below it. Boom.
So don't say, well, what does it mean? Just ask yourself what happened next.
Yep.
What happened after that?
Yep. 100%. Focus on what's next, not what happened. Yeah, no, this is great. It's a great question, whoever asked that.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Frenzy.
Yes.
Web3 Zoo says Soul predictions end of May. Again, end of May, I don't know. The next few months up in the air, doesn't really matter. I think over the next 6 months to a year, I would say next couple of years, Soul's going way higher. With I think top 50 is going way higher, especially the top L1s. I think too many people think in terms of Soul versus ETH, Solana versus Ethereum. I think people can do whatever they want, but I think the tribalism honestly is just pointless. And I think I think Solana, Ethereum, several other L1s are going to get a lot of block space demand, and the tokens are going way higher. I think it's kind of pointless to argue which one's fucking better, whatever. All of them are going up. I think. I'm not. I really. I think you should think in terms just your portfolio and just in general. Just think in terms of Solana and Ethereum, and not Solana or Ethereum. I think it's ridiculous, especially to think that Ethereum's not gonna do well just because it didn't do well. By the way, it's still up 2 or 3x off the lows from a few years ago. It's not fucking down. People pretend it's down 70% from the last 5 years or something. It's just had a period of time where it kind of underperformed other assets. But again, focus on what's coming, what's in front of us, which again is regulatory clarity, all these great things that are going to benefit ETH, and don't focus on what happened the last few years.
And remember the story I just told you about my son. Every one of us is an example of that story. Think of all the things your mom and dad had to go through to get to you. I mean, it's a
Yep.
very metaphysical thing. You have to realize whatever you want to see in the markets, I don't care if it's stocks or Bitcoin, it does not matter. Whatever you want to see, you will see. You will define what you see. If you want to see fear and things to worry about, you will notice that all your mind picks up on is things to fear and worry about. If you want to see success, you will learn patience. You will learn to wait. You will learn to recognize when everybody around you is in a frenzy, you're going to be the one that's ready for what's coming, and that's big up.
Big up. I love
Big
that.
ups,
You're not
homie.
going to analyze shit. You're not going to overdo it. You're just going to become steady. But I want you to realize your mom and dad, just like if you're a parent, you got to recognize when you look at your child and how much you love them and how great they made your life. You got to realize every single fucking thing you ever went through had a purpose.
Amazing show. We're getting so many great questions in here today. I don't know if it's seeing Max's face or what it's doing, but we're getting a lot of great engagement, and we really appreciate you guys for being on, especially during a quiet time. You're seeing on Twitter and Prices Everything. It's getting really quiet, which again is a good thing. What we usually see during the end of these corrections, but the fact that you're still here learning with us, trying to get better every day, it's really going to show long term. I'm about to make a tweet here a little bit, but like it took me several years to make any money in crypto, and maybe 3 or 4 years to make really any serious money. But during that time, I failed forward, learned a lot of what not to do, learned charts, learned pattern recognition, made great connections, and that's what's enabled me to not only have a portfolio that I do now, but to make so many great connections, have the Telegram channel, to have people like Max come into my life. So my point here is like, even if you're not seeing the success, even for a few years, trust me, keep going. If you learn the skills, learn the mindset, learn all the stuff that we're talking about on these streams, you'll be able to print or make money or whatever, invest forever, as long as there's digital assets or assets in general. So we really appreciate you guys for being on here.
Yeah, I gotta step out for like 5 minutes, but I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries. Richie Flames, though, great question. He said, Brent, if NFTs run again, which sector would you think will lead? PFPs, gaming, or art? Amazing fucking question. I was going to do it for this stream, but I didn't have time. I'm going to make like if I had 100 ETH, what I would be buying type of thing. Somebody actually posed that question to me earlier on Twitter. But I think NFTs are going to have a bull run, and I think it's going to be concentrated in a few sectors. I think it's going to be like a lot of times that the top leaders in each of these sectors are going to do well. But for me, the more obvious, no-brainer ones are the few, maybe 5 to 10 IPs from 2021 with good operators that have stuck around through the bear market, who have an actual IP that's interesting, and stuff like that. For me, my biggest bet is VFriends, obviously, with Gary Vaynerchuk. I think he's the greatest operator in Web3, and mostly because he actually has real world business experience. His marketing agency does hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue a year. He's just so influential in the social media marketing world. You see right now onboarding so many people to VFriends. I'm like a top 10 holder in both of those collections. I really believe in that. And again, it's because I think the VFriends IP and the traits and everything behind it are really going to make a positive impact on the world. But for me, the biggest thing is the operator behind it. So I think VFriends, I think it's going to go to the top. I think it's going to be second to CryptoPunks in floor price. But you got the Pudgy Penguins with Luca Nets, great operator as well. That guy's a fucking killer. Like, you already got the Pudgy Penguin toys in a Walmart. You see a lot of these GIFs being used on Instagram. I've had, several people who I know nothing about NFTs or crypto use those Pudgy Penguin GIFs, stuff like that. So to answer your question, I think 3 to 10 2021 IPs, VFriends, Bored Apes, Pudgies will do well. You have the CryptoPunks, I think, are going to continue to lead. There's going to be digital art like Beeple, Xcopy, stuff like that that'll do well. But I think the biggest sleeper and what people aren't realizing yet, very few people put together, is the meme coin NFTs. I think meme coins are going to continue to do well, and then I think NFTs are going to have their bull run. I think that the convergence of those two things are going to be very powerful. And I think it just makes sense for these meme coin communities to have a digital representation of their identity, and it's just going to be really it's gonna catch on, and it's gonna have these top meme coin NFT projects doing very well. Especially you have the Sproto Gremlins and Aeons, probably the two leaders. Both of those collections have 3,000 supplies, very low supplies. Again, I could see those the Aeon Sprotos in the top 10 and floor price of all of NFTs. And then you have the FWOG PFP like that I have, the 101s from good artists. So to answer your question, I know that was a little bit of a rant, but I think the top 2021 IPs, you'll have digital art from the top artists that do well. You'll have obviously those meme coin NFTs, the Spreado Gremlins, but Aeons. But I think a lot of new NFT meme coin NFT projects are going to make NFT collections. You're already seeing it with Lofi on Sui. I think that's just going to kind of be the norm. So yeah, top 2021 IPs are the most no brainer. And then you got the meme coin NFTs. Ordinals will probably do well as well. So great question, Richie. I really appreciate that, bro. I don't know, Richie, you're really contributing to the stream today, bro. I really appreciate that. J Tech says, do you think Bitcoin's current price action is just, oh, we already read that. We already did that. Finally see the face to the voice. Let's fucking go, Max. Awesome insight, man. Been hooked since you first came on with Brent. Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Mike's been on us with us even before the other Mike here, Max, was on with us. So we always appreciate you being on, Mike. Thank you, man. Bull says same way when it's 320K. People be like, oh, I remember it was at 84. Yeah. What books does Max recommend for being a stoic? Love his emotional control.
Oh gosh. The funny thing is, I learned most of what I've known from real life experience.
Yeah.
I had a lot of tough things happen to me when I was a kid, and it taught me that you gotta be tough in your mind, or the outside world is pretty crappy. So I learned early in a book called Think and Grow Rich that whatever your mind thinks is what you will experience. And um, after a lot of struggle, I finally figured out what that meant. And uh, and someone asked if I was a Christian. The answer is yes. Some of the things I've lived through, there's only one reason I'm here. And I think it's because my son had to be born. But uh, yeah, I do believe that there are powers that control us, and life is going to be fine. We're just supposed to stop worrying about it.
100%. Think and Grow Rich has been super influential in my life as well as like Psycho Cybernetics, which is another book that's about pretty much your self image. Kind of just drives everything, the way that you think about yourself, and that's why there's so many people in the world who may not be good looking, may not be fucking whatever, but they just have that self image and that confidence about them, and they're able to fucking do whatever they want in life. So I think, like Max is saying, now, Max, do you believe in the law of attraction as like an actual thing, or more so just like
No,
like
I believe the universe is built. I mean, think about it, guys. We we live on a rock in the middle of a black giant thing we call space. We're not attached to anything. We just float around, and we float around at thousands and thousands of miles an hour, and we spin on a top every 24 hours, and we don't fucking run into anything. If you don't think that something is controlling that, well, then, more power to you. But uh, yes, there is a God, and he does not want us to sit here and worry about whether Trump and China are going to come up with a deal. They're going to come up with a deal, and anybody who sit and fucking worries about it is going to waste their time.
for sure. Yeah, that's kind of been my thinking too. It's just the way that God set up the world, like with the law of attraction type thing. Frenzy or Richie asks, fucking Richie, you're full of questions today, bro. He asked the AI tokens. I don't know if you mean the AI like the meme coin AI stuff, or like real like AI tech coins like Tau or Pal AI or these other ones. I think the answer is yes. I think some of the AI meme coins are going to recover. A few of them. Which ones? I don't know. Maybe Goat because of the story. Maybe AI 16Z. I don't. There's probably going to be number of them. That's not really where I'm putting my money right now. I think the meme coin wise, SPX Gigas, Mogs that are down, 80, 70 or 80%. I think some of those are going to be some of the most no brainer fucking trades ever, meme coin wise. So I'm just kind of focusing on those. But as far as like the other AI meme coins, I don't know. AI like tech coins, I think, yeah, you kind of throw a dart at the top 10, 20 of them and probably do well. Max, please, the chart. Okay, we already went over that. She said Max must have been very smart in school.
I unfortunately I was.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure had a lot of discipline.
I say unfortunately because everybody else around me had a lot more fun, but
Gotcha.
it all worked out.
Yeah, for sure. Max just made me think that all this is all about mindset. Damn, thanks for that. Appreciate it for real.
Mindset. If that's what it made you think, then I did the right thing because it is your mindset. You are in control of every single thing you experience. Everything you experience is something you did. So once you figure that out, your life will get much easier to not worry.
Yeah. I see the new comments coming in and we're catching up, but he said, yeah, Max, I asked earlier, were you a first class student in school? Yeah, I said Max said he got good grades. Also, he said, I believe you, Max. Yeah. For Loco's no longer with us. Yeah, for Loco had to go. Bren, what was your short term forecast for ETH? Short term, brother, I don't know. I think likely we've probably seen not only the
Brand, you there?
near the end of the correction, but I think this consolidation 74K. I think the probabilities point to a bounce from here. We're starting to see a possible inverse head and shoulders, which again is just a bottom pattern that we see a lot of times in these bottom consolidations, bottom that form these bottoms. So I wouldn't be surprised. Again, this is just all speculation. If it were to go down one more time, who gives a shit? I'd just be keep buying. But I could see a little bit of a chop again above 74K and then a bounce. Really, the level that I'm watching and the only one I'm really taking serious is 95K, which is that prior bounce high. But even then, it could come up one more time and then come down again. Who fucking knows? Until we hit that all-time high, I'm just going to keep buying, just keep letting this thing play out. But you asked about the short term, man. Honestly, who fucking knows? I think that's just complete guessing. But I do think over the next few weeks, we're probably likely to get a bounce off of this level here into the 90s, and then we'll see from there. But
I,
again, that's just a
I have a question for anybody who's wondering whether they should buy. The answer is yes, you should buy. It has nothing to do with the price. The answer is yes, you should buy. You should buy a little bit every time you wonder if you should buy.
yeah.
So why would I say that? Because a lot of people will say, yeah, but Mike, ETH could go to $800. You know what? It could. But I have a question for you. If you buy some now at 1,600 and some at 1,800, the end price of ETH is 22,000. Do you really fucking care if it went to 800?
Nah.
So the point is you're thinking about the wrong thing. You want to think about what you want to end up at, not what might happen. Where do you want to end up? Do you want to end up at 22,000 ETH? Then guess what? $1,600 is a buy. And 800 will be a great buy. And 1,200 on the way down, fantastic buy.
You would think that'd be so intuitive for people, especially at this point when there's been so many of these corrections, but it's amazing. It blows my
No,
mind.
it's here. Now, by the way, you will read this headline at somewhere in the future. Uh, crowd bearish over Bitcoin crashing to 450,000 from 600. So, you know what? There's going to be a group of people that will ask all of the exact same questions we are talking about today after Bitcoin goes from 600,000 to 450,000. The exact same questions.
For sure. Frenzy says about Powell's last speech, it's funny how the market reacted to unauthorized news. Fear. Yeah, that's how it is. ETH will soar higher. If I had dry powder right now, I'll invest in ETH. Yeah, for sure, brother. Wouldn't miss this alpha. Lovely space gang. I enjoy this so much. Richie says I just started crypto, not a great portfolio. Right on, Richie. Let me know in the comments like how you got started. What brought you in? Was it the meme coins? Either way, great fucking questions today, brother. Really like helping the stream move along. Miss D is bullish. Says thank you, Brennan, for these invaluable sessions. Thank you, Miss D. You see Miss D always in the comments on Max. She's always commenting
Oh
on your
yeah,
stuff.
thanks, Miss D. You're great.
Uh,
So
Nokia Mania says, go ahead.
said, I think Richie just said, I really just believe people are afraid of the unknown. They are. Here's the unfortunate part about the unknown. A, it's never going to go away. And B, there's not a friggin' thing you can do about it. Nothing. So when you know those two things, when you know that all of us are in the same boat, why would you waste your life worrying about something that's A, never going to change for as long as you're alive, and B, you can't do a single thing about it? Nothing. So calm down. Let me tell you something. God put that way so that you would eventually learn, if I can't do anything about it and it's never going to be different, then I should stop worrying about it. That's the lesson. See, the unknown is out there not to scare the shit out of you, but to teach you that you're not supposed to be afraid. It's changing you. It's not going to change the unknown. It's changing you.
Damn, so many amazing clippable moments in here. This is going to be great. Richie says, I thought so too, Brent, because you're so bullish on VFriends. Yeah, 100%, bro. Max, do you think fiat will survive the Bitcoin wave?
No,
The death of fiat? It's kind of just the net, whether you think it's all orchestrated or not, just the next progression, right? Like if we just let things go the way they are, it's just hyperinflation. Do you think hyperinflation? I think we never talked about this. Like, whatever you determine hyperinflation, like mass inflation, still happens with the crypto stuff, or is it
no,
no?
can't.
Gotcha. Wow. So it's the escape, pretty much.
It's a must. The world must create digital assetization because we cannot risk the process of just printing more fiat. It's not, that's no longer money. And
Do you,
eventually people will figure that out.
and this is like conspiracy theory, just fun, not conspiracy theory, but like just like whatever, just for fun. Do you think it's like, I'm not gonna say it's possible because I already know your answer to that, but do you think there's I don't know, whatever they created Bitcoin to move us off the whole system? The entire thing was just created to do that, or is it just kind of turning into that? I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, isn't that what the creator said?
Yeah.
It was to create fair money.
Yeah, I guess my whole thing was kind of like, do you think the powers that be kind of created it to move us off the?
No, I think the powers that be are too fucking stupid to understand the difference. But
Gotcha.
now they've learned. And now that they've learned, they realize now how much danger they're in if we keep printing fucking money and trying to call it money. See, right now, the only reason that shit is worth anything still is because we've decided we'll still believe it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a time when we're not going to believe it, and you better have your stuff in crypto before then.
Yo, Bob.jpg. This is alpha, especially in the markets. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for being here,
What
bro.
did I miss?
Just a lot of fucking alpha, bro. Just a lot of great information. You just missed that.
And I'll tell you what, everybody can help us doing. Um, this is going to be the biggest, baddest gang in the business. So tell all your friends to join us.
Yes, sir. You guys are pioneers. Honestly, you guys are part of this early days, especially with how quiet everything is now. Again, you guys are really appreciate you. Max, I asked earlier. Oh, we already saw that. Okay. Appreciate you all, gang. Is Brent still with us? Yeah, I'm right here. Buying is always the answer. Would love to know specifically what y'all are accumulating right now. Yeah, I said a little bit earlier, bro. Bio Earth NFT. For me, uh, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. I've been DCAing from my stable coins that I've had on the way down. Definitely, I think it's very important to set up most of your portfolio in the. I need to make a video on this, but like portfolio on in the investor bucket. Maybe for me, that's like 70% of my portfolio is in ETH, Bitcoin, Sol,
Okay, I'll
top
give
five,
you
10.
what I bought this morning.
Yeah,
I bought Bitcoin ETH. I bought Bitcoin. It's a list of about 12. I bought Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Ondo Finance, BitTensor, Sui, Doge, Hedera, Superverse, and I added some more to Pudgy. Oh, and I
good.
bought some Render. I bought some Render and some AIs.
Yeah, good shit. Yeah, I love AOs, love Superverse. I think Pengu, again, operator. Yeah, I think it's going to do really well. I love that. Are you using like Coinbase?
Yeah,
Finance?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. But just really quickly, BioEarth, for me, Bitcoin ETH Sol, like Max said, in that investor bucket. Rest of my portfolio, I'm buying a lot of what Max was just saying, Superverse, AOs, Ondo, Tau, a lot of those coins in the top 50 that are in the AI slash gaming slash uh, just a few of those others that really haven't run yet. I think those are the most sleeper, no brainer buys, like the highest risk to reward buys in altcoins right now. Is those top 50 coins that people are just completely dismissing that are down, some of them like 60, 70%. They're down like a meme coin, but they have the fundamentals of
I'll
like a
tell you, I'll tell you something. We've said this a few times, but I think it's imperative that people understand this. It is a rare time in any market that you can get something so depressed and you can get people so stressed out and so fearful that the top 200 assets are all cheap. Usually it's the shitty stuff that's cheap, and you got to hope that it works. We are staring at the wall of you just go to coin market cap, have it give you the top 250 coins, print it out, put it on a wall, and throw 25 darts. And I promise you, in 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, you will be very glad you did it. That's how simple this is. This is like, and I grew up in Charleston. This is like falling off a rock, is what people used to say. This is how easy this is. It's like falling off a rock, meaning anybody can do it.
hell yeah. Hope that answered your question, BioEarth NFT. I think. Oh, and then meme coins. I already talked about it. It's the coins that have survived these crashes before with strong communities,
Can I
cult
say
like stuff.
can I say one more
Yeah,
thing?
of course. Go ahead.
I'm sorry about the darts.
Of
Here's
course.
what here's what your mind will do. Here's what your mind's going to do. I'm going to play the trick for you so you don't do it. You're going to throw those 25 darts, and then you're going to pull the dart out on one, and it's going to be on, say, render. And whatever the one is above render, you're going to go, yeah, but should I buy that one instead of this one? Let me tell you something. Here's how you'll prove to yourself you should stop that. And that is this: if your buddy is 10 feet away from you on the same wall, and he's got 25 darts, and he's got the same map, and he throws his 25 darts, this is how good this window is. Both of you are going to throw at 25 different things. Now, you might have a few that you hit the same, but you're both going to do well, meaning it doesn't matter. It's so good right now that it doesn't matter. If you could buy all 250, you'll do fine. And if you can buy any 25 of them, you'll do fine. That's how good it is.
And then again, just embrace, also match the fucking fear and what's going on right now and realize the correlation between the fucking two of how cheap and how obvious the buy is, but how like fucking intense this fear is, and just embody that next time we're in this situation. I think it'll help the muscle, like Max was talking about. Max, I really just believe people are afraid of the unknown. Oh yeah, we already said that. Buying is a no brainer, of course, but what if your capital is not that big to buy into those majors? See, that's the biggest.
That's the problem. See,
Yeah,
that's what everybody doesn't get. You can buy 0.0001 of it, buy $5 of it.
100%. Even if it's Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, but like NFT Jimmy, like even if it's the meme coins, we're talking SPX, Giga, Mog, whatever. Maybe it takes another month or two for this correction to end, but you're way better off buying coins that have like a proven that they've survived these crashes before, have a year, 2 years in the game. If you're able to just wait, patience, that's the biggest key in any of this. That's the sacrifice you have to make. If you're able to be patient, you're way better off taking that, even it's $20, $30 and it goes up 5, 10x, taking profits on the way up, than sending it at some random fucking shitcoin that you're almost 100% going to lose it for.
Do not think in terms of how much the token is. You can buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can afford every single token. Just buy a little bit of it. If
100%.
Bitcoin goes to 300 grand, your $5 is going to get the same percentage rate of return.
Yeah. For me, meme coins for sure. Yeah, you know who I am, or who am 19. You're always asking questions too, bro. I see you. I appreciate you. E booby, you're back. What's up, bro? I forgot that's what your name was on here. Uh, People so worried of market, but should be worrying about how to improve themselves instead. That's also true.
Well said.
Richard, if you haven't already, check out Bren's video on always be taking partial profits on portfolio allocation. Thank you, Rosha. Appreciate that. Yeah, I do have a video in the Telegram channel. I'll take the opportunity actually to hold on. Hold on. Am I sharing? Is this? Yeah, it's the right screen. Okay. The Bossman Calls Telegram channel, which is a Telegram channel that I've been working with my business partner Bossman with since I think December of 2023. At that point, he had started it a few months before. It was at a couple hundred members. And now we're sitting at, like you see here, about just under 40K members. And I think the growth really, again, besides having pretty good, some great trading opportunities or great trade ideas that we put out, people have made money, but we really focus a lot on, at least myself, on with my posts on education and like Rojam mentioned, little tips and tricks. Max has a lot more experience than me, 40 years in the traditional finance game, but I've been in crypto here for about almost 10 years, since 2016 here. So definitely stuff that, like I said, the first 3 or 4 years that I've been in crypto, I didn't, it took me years to make money. And during that time, that's really where I failed forward and learned what not to do, learned the fundamentals, really this mindset a lot that Max is talking about. Just these different things that you can only pick up with time in the game, and time in the market. And my whole point is in the Telegram, do a lot of long write ups, educational stuff, good trade ideas. My business partner Bossman also bring in a lot of stuff on the Memecoin place and otherwise. So definitely check that out. Right now, the market's quiet, but there's definitely gonna be a lot of trade opportunities, good education stuff in there as well. So, as well as the Bridge 3 Lab guys as well. We got Danksy here still with us, but for Loco, he's the founder of it. Been doing the streams with them for almost a year now, which is crazy. But they Bridge 3 Labs is like an NFT project that gives you access. Small NFT project gives you access to a group of smart individuals in all these different areas, traditional finance, crypto, all these different places. So check out what they got going on as well. And then of course, I plugged him at the top of the show. But if you're on Twitter right now, go to Max's tag on the post and give my guy a follow here. Again, so much more content coming from both of us, Max as well, coming through here. We have a lot of cool plans, a lot of cool stuff planned. So definitely shoot him a follow, and then of course myself as well. Put a post notification so you don't miss any streams. We'll be on here for a little bit longer, but again, we really appreciate you guys for being on here, and thanks Rojam for mentioning the video. Bio Earth says came for the crypto, stayed for the metaphysical. Let's go. Started crypto with ETH in 2021. Was serious with it. In fact, I left it and came back to it last year. Right on, brother. Welcome back. What would slash can make you quit crypto, and what other fulfilling things could you do aside from crypto? For me, I again goes back to the same kind of thing. For those first 3 or 4 years, um, I really have a love for crypto and investing and just the markets in general. For me, since the beginning, it's always been very entertaining for me and something I always love doing. And I'm blessed to have found something that I'm good at, and it's really entertaining and something I love to do. So for many years before I made money, I really enjoyed the process of watching interviews with smart individuals who have lived through these different times, like Max, and just charts and everything. I really enjoyed the process. So even if I made no money, whatever, like there's no way I'm going to quit it, especially now with all this interesting stuff that's going to happen. This is stuff we lived for 5-10 years ago. So to answer your question, there's nothing. I could start over today, and I'd still be doing crypto.
I want to add one thing, if I could. And it's funny what I'm about to tell you. I had quote old guys tell me when I was 30, and I thought they were full of shit. Um, and they were 100% right. So I'm going to tell you the same thing. Don't do anything for money. Let that sink in for a minute. Don't do stuff for money. Do it because you're
Wow.
going to have fun doing it, and you're going to add value, and it's going to add value to you, and you're going to learn something. That's why when you hear us describing things about how you're worrying about stuff and what if this happens and what if that happens, take it all in. It's there for a reason. It's there for you to learn all the good things about yourself. A, you're going to make it. B, you're going to do fine, but you're not if you worry about everything. So the lesson is not that somehow you're going to have fewer things to worry about. You won't. The lesson is you have to learn not to worry about. So reverse the process, and your life will improve. There, Brent? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I started talking again while it was muted, but well said, Max. And again, you guys have literally we're like almost at 2 hours and nonstop questions. I don't think it's ever been like this. We've had 2,000 viewers on the show again when things were more active on crypto Twitter, but like this much engagement is very impressive, and we really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Cheers, bros. Appreciate you, Bob. But now I'm locked in. Want to make real cash in this space. Yeah, bro. Just think long term. We're just getting started, truly, with the industry. The baddest gang, like Max would say. Yep. Always have my support, Brent. I appreciate you, Drago. Standcraft Zero says I'm buying more Sui lately. Yeah, Sui good. It's good too. No AVAX? No, I've been buying AVAX.
Oh, I have AVAX. Yeah.
Yeah, AVAX I think is going to be have a huge run based on the gaming stuff whenever that takes off. But just in general, even if it didn't, I props needs more Sui. Yeah, any of these top 10 I don't know about top 10, top 5 L1s, anything in the top 50, like we're saying, they're already all in nice corrections right now. Bio says exactly what I was looking for. Thank y'all. Bio, I don't know if this is the first time on the show, brother. It's the first time I've seen you, brother or sister. But thank you. Great questions, and I hope that to see you on further streams, man, future streams. Brent, do you think Hood is going to come back? If you mean the meme coin, I don't know, bro. Could go either way. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. Where you said, where do you live now, Max? These guys want all the details. Uh,
Florida.
Florida,
Yep.
nice. Damian Entre says worth holding Bitcoin for 30 plus years. Yes.
Never sell your Bitcoin. Never.
I know this is another thing that you're gonna say like probably just don't even focus on whatever. It's not gonna matter. But like I don't know if you have any opinion. Do you think they're gonna have to like change the Bitcoin's like inflation where they're gonna have to eventually for the security? Like if they stop, they stop issuing Bitcoin at some point, are they gonna have to ever? You think they're gonna have to eventually like print more Bitcoin to like pay for the security or whatever? I don't know if you have any opinion on that.
Pay for what security?
So like I don't know, people theorize that event. You know how right now the way that like security on the chain is paid is through the miners because they get rewards for mining, right? Eventually that stops because it stops printing Bitcoin, right? All the Bitcoin is out. At that point, people theorize that like the miners are going to have no incentive to keep the network secure. And at that point, they're going to have to actually start like Ethereum does, like have a small inflation rate again to pay for that. Kind
So,
of changing the hard cap of Bitcoin.
so the idea is what we want to do today is we want to worry about something that will take until 2048 to
Yeah,
actually.
I knew you were gonna say. I know. I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm gonna go with I don't give a shit.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. Yeah, stupid question. All right. Bren says, Bren, I was gonna ask what low cap altcoins. Low cap. I don't know what you mean by low cap. I'm not really hitting like the anything really below like 10 million, and that's only a few coins. Again, right now you don't have to go low, bro. Like anything hundreds of millions meme coin wise, or like in the billions, low billions in the altcoins, you could throw a dart. Everything's down so much.
Remember, guys, think and grow rich. Think higher.
Yeah.
Think higher. Whatever you're thinking, think higher. If you're thinking, yeah, I can't do that, think twice as high.
Start smoking and thinking.
Yeah. Phillips FX says, do you think life will be tough for people who are fading us when crypto's everywhere?
What's that now?
He said, do you think life will be tough for people who are fading us when crypto's everywhere? Like, do you think life will be tough for people who are like not using digital assets or who don't have Bitcoin,
They, they
etc.?
won't have a choice, but that's how they'll be paid.
Gotcha. Richie says, Brent, this might be a dumb question, but why is taking partial profit better than taking full profit? That's a great question because there's two major dilemmas. And we're talking meme coins, right? Or we're talking alts. You're talking Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. I personally am not selling any of those. I think those are more of a buy and hold for at least decades or forever. But when you're talking about meme coins and alts, stuff that we don't know if it's going to be around. I think taking partial profits is good because most people face two dilemmas, like two problems, right? It's round tripping, which is again buying something that goes up 20x, you don't take anything, and then it goes to zero, or selling everything way too early, right? There's people who, again, who round trip or people who bought Doge and then it goes up 3x and they sold everything and they missed out on 1000x. Taking partial profits, kind of my system that I have there, again, which is just setting these milestones and taking partial profits on the way up. That system, it kind of defends against those two things at once. It allows you to lock in gains, get risk free, while still holding a part of the position in case you get that 1000x. And really, what it consists of, and you can see the video in the Telegram channel. Maybe I'll post it under the tweet, under this post or something. Is you want to have these milestones set up, like for whatever meme coin, where I'm going to take this amount of profit at 10x, 5x, whatever it may be. It might be different if you're trading low caps, whatever, but you have to have this system set up ahead of time and these milestones and whatever, or else you're just going to be at the whim of your emotion. And I want to be real, even if you have these rules set up, there's going to be times you're tempted to break it, all that, but at least it gives you that system and not just leaves you at the whim of how you're feeling and your emotion. Because if you're going to do that, you're fucked. So yeah, that's why taking partials is better than taking everything. Again, taking everything is better than losing money. So like I'm not going to shit on anybody taking profits, but I think more optimally is taking 50% off and holding the rest, or taking 75% off, whatever. I think for meme coins, that's really how what works best for me. Dr. Tom says, "What's up, guys? Was a very powerful and stream indeed. Yes. Who do you recommend we follow, Brent? Like, who's what you watched when you first started?" Yeah, no, that's a great question. There's a few people still in crypto that I first started when I watched that are like still strong. There, and I would say Elio Trades is one of the first people I watched. He's great, love him. Superverse, the project we talk about a lot here, is one that he started in gaming, but also just a lot of the coins I bought in 2019 and 2020 before everything exploded that went 10, 50x, like more, that really, solidified stuff for me. A lot of them I found on Elio's channel. Super smart guy. Love Elio. Elio Trades here. Kind of inspired my name, like Brent Trades or whatever. Definitely follow him. And then Alex Becker, I think is great as well. Funny guy, has a lot of entertainment value in his videos. I think a lot of people miss the point when he's trolling, but super smart guy. Says a lot of the stuff that we said in this stream. It's just about buying and holding great coins, not focusing so much on these corrections. And then he does preach taking profits on the way up, at least for the alts. Well, super long term guy. I think he really understands crypto gaming, tokenization, everything. Again, a lot of these people that you see people shit on or kind of troll or say, oh, like blah blah blah. Those are the people you actually want to pay attention to, and the crowd are saying that. And you got to look deeper. Again, you just got to look at these people's track record. Alex Becker, I think, a super smart guy. And then there's a few others. Obviously, um, I think Gareth Soloway is another guy that kind of a long term guy that I've learned a good amount from. But I would say number one, you want to be following Max. This guy, again, going to provide you a lot of stuff with the crypto wise, but just I've never met somebody with so much insight, and I just definitely number one follower is going to be Max right now. What do you recommend we follow? Oh yeah, I already said that. How do you overcome FOMO? Wow, don't do things for money. Thanks, Max, for the answer. Yeah. I feel most people started crypto with a money making mindset, but with time they'll change. And again, there's nothing wrong with making money, but what Max is saying is don't make a decision with money in mind first,
Right.
right?
I didn't mean at all. Don't try to build wealth. Just don't make it your purpose.
Yeah. If the reason you're making a decision is this is going to give me more money, but I'm going to sacrifice whatever else, my fucking morals or whatever else, then yeah, it's not good. The NFT Jimmy says, I think there's a difference between getting money and wanting to be wealthy. Yeah. It's about how you make it, right? Today's stream is so good. Maybe it's the holiday. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 2 hours ago. We've gotten to 2 hours here and I didn't even notice. We're going to sign off in a second, guys, but I want to make sure to get to all your comments. I'm grateful for the content you guys provide. Seriously, let's talk about Fartcoin. What's up with all the dump and FUD? What's going on? This is just another example. Well, I didn't even look at the Fartcoin chart, and Max is probably going to enjoy this. Like, I didn't even look at the Fartcoin chart until yesterday, but I saw everybody on the timeline like freaking out because Farcoin, I assumed it was going to be back down at the lows and it was going to be down a ton. Let's look what Farcoin's at right now, where everybody's freaking out about. Hold on, it's coming up right now.
I'm going to go with less than 10%.
Yeah, it's down a little bit more today, but look at this. This is what Farcoin. Can you see my screen, Max?
Yeah.
Can you see? This is what Farcoin's been up just in the last month alone.
Yeah.
And people are freaking out about this fucking 15% move. And it's just like,
Yeah.
blows my fucking mind. To answer your question, whoever asked that though, I expect if we do get that bottom in the next month or so on the majors and the rest of the memes, I'd expect Farcoin to keep going up. I expect it to go up with everything else, with memes in the next few months anyway. But yeah, I would expect Farcoin very likely if Bitcoin doesn't dip below 70 from here, which I think is unlikely, that Farcoin's just probably going to keep chopping up, bro. Continue to go to the upside. Maybe it accelerates when meme coins start to pick up, but yeah, I think the bottom's probably in for Farcoin. But of course, it could come down all the way down to 200 again, and I would just probably buy a bit more. But if I had to guess, I think it's probably just going to keep going up from here, bro. But who fucking knows? Um, but yeah, this is just another example, guys. Everybody's freaking out, fudding literally over a 15% move. Zoom the fuck out. Zoom the fuck out even the last week and see how minuscule this move is. Yeah, but you asked, is it really going down to 68 cents? I have no clue, bro. I wouldn't worry about it. If you like Fartcoin and you believe in Fartcoin, I would just think of that as a buy opportunity. You got anything from the stream is like use. I think most people would be better off shifting their mindset during corrections as like a time of opportunity and abundance rather than like thinking of, oh, how could this get worse. Grateful for all the advice. Yes, trader. I don't know if you've been on here before, but if this is your first time, welcome, and we really appreciate you. Max, what is the best? What is the best? Is holding or stacking? I think that's the same thing, bro.
Stacking.
Yeah,
Buy and then buy some more.
yeah. Stacking. Never sell your Bitcoin, no matter what. Yes, Bitcoin is a very powerful asset. Yes, if you want, you can buy any denomination of a token. That's one, $5, $7. You don't have to worry about buying even lots with like stocks that require at least one share. Just mind the fees depending on the chain. Yes, exactly. Yo, Dr. Solana, shout out to you, bro. I was just about to say something. I saw that you get shot me a follow. Really cool to see that you're on the stream, man. Shout out to you. Where'd you go? Shout out to you, Dr. Solana. I've seen your posts around a lot too, man. Really cool that you're able to find our stream. I don't know if you found it from the channel or just off Twitter. We really appreciate you for being on. Look at this thing that he did for Michael Saylor. That's funny. Uh, but appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being on. Think higher, no low caps. You come into Brent's space and you think you're just going to get crypto knowledge. Yeah, that's what we really want to do is just make this a place, add a little bit more entertainment value, get to know us a little bit more. And I really appreciate Max for having his face on here. That's what I want everybody on here to have in the next month or so. So are you more of a trader now or investor, Bren? I've always been more of a buy and hold, even in meme coins. If you see my content, Bossman does more of the low cap stuff. I've dabbled at times, but I think it's to take more of an investor mindset in any of this stuff. Even though meme coins is a little bit more tricky, not as much time. It's a whole different asset class. But I still think more of an investor buying and holding good assets through corrections versus what I think like the whole trenching stuff. I think most of it is just equivalent. Again, like most of it, unless you're an outlier, there's people who are really successful. I think it's just the equivalent of like sports betting, a lot of it, type of thing. Um, but yeah, no, definitely more of an investing mindset with the understanding that meme coins are a newer asset class, and yeah, so hard to actually do this in practice. Yeah, it takes training a muscle like anything, right, Max?
It's your mind. It's the most dangerous thing you'll face while you invest.
Richie says, in as much as taking partial profit is good, there's nothing wrong with taking. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, Richie. We're just talking about optimizing everything, and again, nothing wrong with taking full profits. Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it. Yeah. When did you hit a banger in your first crypto journey? Was it a 100x trade? Um, No, I mean, like the really where things kind of changed for me as far as my portfolio was that second bull run that I experienced with like real quickly started in 2016, like in the middle of the first bull run, or the first big crypto bull run. Made a little money, lost a little money, didn't have much skin in the game, and then that first bull or that bear market in 2019, that's where I really started learning about everything about crypto, Bitcoin, and inflation, fucking, smart contracts, all that different stuff, and that's where I invested a lot of my money in expendable income from working into alts, to Bitcoin, ETH, but a lot of these alts that I found on Elio Trade's channel, a lot of these other ones that were gaming, a lot of these different other coins that I saw a lot of them went 10 to 50x. I think I had 175x buy and hold for, one that I bought 6 or 9 months before in Decentraland. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It was like one of the first metaverse, whatever things. But yeah, I mean, I had luckily a couple really big hitters in the first altcoin run in 2020 because again, I think I was on YouTube pretty early before the whole hype cycle and Elon was in the game and all that. Luckily, was pretty early on a lot of these coins. But to answer your question, it wasn't just one home run and it's changed everything for me. It was a few of them in that first bull run. And generally, I mean, that's where you're going to see stuff coming in. Is like a few altcoin plays. Trying to hit a home run, I think, is the wrong mindset. And I think just having smaller wins and putting those back into Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol is the way. It's the more sustainable way. Alex Becker and Elio trades, yeah. Brent is more of an investor. He doesn't believe day trading is as profitable. I mean, dude, there's definitely, I'm not shitting on you if that's what you love to do. Like, there's people I know, certain people who are outliers and do well. But I think when you're talking about the new daily runner and you're just focusing primarily on new pairs, we know most new pairs, like Max always says, if there's fucking thousands, 10, 100,000. What's the number again, Max, a day of these pump fund coins?
It's tens of thousands a day.
Yeah, tens of thousands a day on average. Most of those are going to zero. So if that's all you're playing in, what results do you think you're going to get? And then on top of that, you add in all these different variables of the dev could fucking dump on me right when I'm getting just all these things. It gives you less of a probability that you're going to win than sports betting or Vegas. And I mean, if that's a game you want to play, sure, but just know that it's not. It's a different game. It's not investing. It's not whatever. You know what I mean? So again, that's not shitting on anybody who likes to do that, but I'm just saying you can't get caught in the illusion or the myth that this is somehow like an alternative to investing, or it's just another. It's just a whole different thing. Um, and if people are doing it, one last thing, and they're doing it as an alternative to sports betting, sure, that's totally cool. It gives you that rush, but again, just don't fall for the myth that this is like going to give you sustainable long-term wealth. It's probably going to give you the same results as the average gambler, probably less.
You
Um,
guys, I gotta hop relatively soon.
Yeah,
no,
me too. Yep.
yeah, we're gonna hop off in like 2 seconds here. I just want to get to the last question. I think that's it. So I guess you're more of a swing trader, Brent. More of like a position holder. Yeah, take profits on the way up. But yeah, we went past the 2 hours here. We really appreciate you being on here. Make sure to follow if you're still on. Like, comment, retweet the stream. Follow Max, Danksy, everybody else on here. We'll be back here on Friday at 1 p.m. PST.
No, Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Tuesday. I say Friday. Tuesday, 1 p.m. PST. Next Friday again at the same time, 10 a.m. Max, anything before we sign off?
Everybody have a great Easter, great holiday weekend. Be blessed and stay safe.
Yep. Thanks. See anything?
Keep buying. Keep
Yeah,
buying, never selling.
there you go.
Think
Love that.
higher.
Love that. All right, guys. We appreciate you, Rojam, Drago, everybody, and yeah, stay blessed. Have a great Easter weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Peace, guys.